Hey Internet, it is AlexR on Fight Games one more time, and today I want to talk a little bit about guest characters, particularly guest characters in Tekken. I had mentioned that I was thinking about making a video about this a while ago, and I thought it would be a good time to do it. So let's go ahead and talk about guest characters in Tekken. I want to rank the guest characters that have already been in Tekken, and then maybe talk about my feelings about guest characters in general and whether it's a good idea for Tekken. So, first off, let's talk about the guest characters that have already existed in Tekken temporarily over time. So the first guest character that we ever had in Tekken was Gon, who's this little dinosaur guy. And he was in Tekken 3, on the console release of Tekken 3. And interestingly, it's kind of hard to unlock him. You have to play the Tekken Force mode quite a bit to get him. It's okay, I guess. I don't know, it was kind of cute that he was in there. My understanding is that he was not particularly strong at a competitive level, and I've heard reports that he's been banned from some Tekken 3 tournaments. Not that game sees very much competitive play anymore, but he's kind of annoying. He's he's somewhere between cute and annoying, right? He's this little tiny dinosaur guy, and he shoots fireballs, he breathes fire, and he farts. And he has the Yoda problem from Soul Calibur. He's really tiny, so most of your attacks won't hit him. That's kind of annoying. I don't know, he's cute enough, I guess, and people didn't really take Tekken 3 all that seriously from a competitive standpoint, and they certainly don't anymore. It's kind of a silly game, even if it's really fun. So, I don't know, Gon, he's alright, I guess. So, Tekken then didn't have another guest character from, when did Tekken 3 happen? 1997. Maybe 98 for the console release. And then Akuma with Fated Retribution, with the Tekken 7 Fated Retribution got announced. And so at the time, this was extraordinarily hyped because it completely just broke down the barrier. We didn't think that there would be guest characters in Tekken, you know? And then they picked this extraordinarily hype guest character, right? Akuma is amazing. I love Akuma as a character. He's just such a cool character. He's my favorite Street Fighter character. He's just so hype as an entity. And just the way that they did the announcement, it was very surprising. It was at the end of the TWT that they were running on the arcade version, 7.0, and then it's the voice actor for Akuma was there, and it was holy cow. And we didn't know who was the guy in the doorway in the Tekken 7 trailer. There was somebody talking to Kazumi, and it was this big wide person, and we didn't know who it was. And I think the reasonable assumption at that time was that it was probably Jinpachi, right? It was probably Jinpachi in the doorway talking to Kazumi. We had no idea. So then they drop Akuma, and it's mind-blowing, and he looks so good in the game, and he had this really high execution ceiling. And from a game design perspective, it was pretty questionable. He was probably definitely overtuned, right? For Tekken 7, and a lot of Tekken 7 characters didn't have a good answer to fighting against him. Jump-ins are really hard to deal with. I think they could have done a better job from a balancing perspective, but Akuma is so sick, right? Wasn't too long thereafter that they announced Geese. I am not a huge SNK guy. I like Geese as a character. I thought he was really fun to play. I thought he was fun to play against in Tekken 7. Probably also overtuned for some of the same reasons. He can dump meter into a combo. Jump-ins from him existed, but were less of a problem in Tekken 7. But I like him a lot. I thought his character design, just aesthetically, was fantastic, and I love how a lot of his battle cries are still in English. I would have liked if he had spoken English in his dialogue, but that's okay. Man, I think they did a great job. He looks fantastic, his stage is great. I like Geese a lot. I like Tekken 7 broadly. Right before Geese came out, though, they announced Noctis. I've gone on the record, Noctis is one of my least favorite things about Tekken 7. I really dislike Noctis. And like, how I feel about this, like, he's kind of unfun to fight. Like, his range is nuts. And the initial balance design was like, he's very, very strong at range. You know, he can keep you out. But then they ended up making his close-up game too strong as well. So I dislike the game design for Noctis. Like, they give him all these, like, they give him a parry, they give him like good counter hit tools, safe strings, you know, forward 1+2. There's like this really screwed up approach tool, like the shadow scissors. And then like he's got effectively a running launching slash kick. His running 1+2, just nuts. Super easy to play, like plays neutral for you basically. And then he looks dumb. I don't know, it's just like magic and explosions and stuff, and he's got a stupid haircut. I don't like anything about Noctis. There's one thing I like about Noctis, which is that one of my good buddies played Noctis, and I like him even though he played Noctis. One of my good friends, so shout out to Lord Decommutate. I didn't like your character in Tekken 7, except for when you were playing Claudio. Claudio was great. Actually, another character that Lord Decommutate played, and this might be a bit of a hot take, Negan. I think Negan is actually my favorite guest character that has ever been in Tekken. I thought, like, so I don't know anything about The Walking Dead. I have watched 0 episodes of The Walking Dead. I have read 0 issues of The Walking Dead, the comic. But I like the actor. I thought he was great. Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I thought he was fantastic in Watchmen. And like they got him to do the voice lines, and like the character is just like so interesting. Like he was fun to fight against. Like they gave him like interesting like things that were fun to play around. He was fun to use. Like his range wasn't egregious. Like he had the bat, but like it wasn't like he could reach you full screen with the bat. His reach was just a little bit longer than a normal Tekken character. And like intimidation stance is like interesting, and like if you like really ate your Wheaties, you could see down back 2 on reaction, and that was like a fun reaction check. He had fun counterplay. Like I love his jab strings, right? Like there's the jabs into the overhead, and that's fun. And there's jabs into the high kick, and like that reaction check is I think pretty strong for the attacker, but it's fun for the defender to like train against, right? If you're quick, you can counter hit him out of the overhead. So I thought his game design was actually great, and like I never would have asked for that. I never would have asked for Negan. I don't know anything about The Walking Dead. When they announced him, I was like, who? Like, what is this? I was there in the arena at EVO when they announced him, and I did not know who he was. But he's actually my favorite. He's my top 1 favorite guest character that they've had in Tekken ever. Yeah, Negan. Largely from like, I mean, I don't know, the voice lines are great, like, he's fun to play against, like, it's Negan, he's cool, you know? That might be a slightly unpopular opinion, but he's my favorite. So that was really fun. Like, so Decommutate was playing Negan for a while as well, which forced me to train the Negan matchup, and that was really fun, actually. So, yeah, Negan, big fan. And then perhaps my least favorite guest character that they've ever added in Tekken was the most recent one, is this guy Clive. I felt, I don't know, like nobody asked for him. I don't know, maybe Final Fantasy fans were excited. He came out super overtuned. Similarly to Noctis, he has like really long reach. In season 2, they just added like several more nuts, long-reaching moves, but now he's a Tekken 8 character, so he's, instead of having enormous counter hit utility, he's got like stance rushdown, and he can come at you from across the entire screen and completely ignore neutral. I dislike everything about Clive, and I think it's a tragedy that they put him in the game, but it seems like he is kind of the design direction that the game is going. I wish they would delete Clive. But also I kind of wish that, you know, they wouldn't make Tekken 8 be the way that it is, especially in the current state with Season 2. But that's a problem for another day. So I was just like, did y'all see the Eris video recently where he was like, Michael, look at the screen. Michael, I'm begging you, look at the screen. Like, that's how I feel about Clive. Like, there's just this just immense amount of flashing explosions and nonsense on the screen, and it's kind of dumb. It's kind of like the developers are saying, like, we don't trust you to like look at the gameplay. Like, you need to be entertained by flashing colorful explosions because you have iPad baby brain and you can only play Hungry Hungry Hippos. Like, it just feels insulting. I actually really dislike everything about Clive, and I wish they hadn't put him in the game. But I don't know. Maybe that's just my... And this is grumpier than I normally am. Anyway, so this is my ranking for guest characters that have existed in Tekken so far. And people have been talking about guest characters in general. And like, guest characters I think can be really, really good in a fighting game. And like, it's an open to argument whether Tekken needs guest characters at this point. I think it's maybe not the time for guest characters, although like, I think they can be really good in a fighting game. Like, I mean, people got really hyped when, you know, Akuma was announced, and you know, people were super excited for Geese. And then if you look over, like, I'm not an NRS player, but if you look over at NRS, they've had some like fantastic guest characters in Mortal Kombat and Injustice. Like, there was Spawn in MK11, and that's almost enough. Like, Spawn, man, that's almost enough to get me to want to play Mortal Kombat. That's just me. So like, and then who else was good? There was who did they have in? There was Hellboy in Injustice, and that was really hype. That's almost enough to get me when I play Injustice. And then the Turtles. There was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Injustice as well, so that's like, it's pretty cool. But yeah, they've got like, and then they've had like Arnold twice. You know, there's been Terminator and Conan now. So people, I don't know, yeah, I don't know. So like, guest characters can be good, and maybe that makes more sense for Mortal Kombat right now than Tekken. But if you were to ask me like who I do want as a guest character in Tekken, the answer would mostly be, don't put guest characters right now, but just, you know, put Tekken characters. Either bring back existing Tekken characters and make up new ones. I don't know, like, you know, their track record for new Tekken characters has been pretty good recently, more or less. I don't know, like, I like Leroy's cool. Reina's great. I'm a big fan of Reina. Like, I didn't like her at first, but like once they got her, you know, like once I tried Tekken 8, I was like, oh, actually this is really good. But I don't know. So let's take a moment to look at some other guest characters that people have suggested, right? So this is like Akira from Virtua Fighter. I would be totally all right with a Virtua Fighter guest character, although that seems unlikely at this point. I think people would be like, I don't understand this like random martial arts guy. Akira would be sick. Most of these, like, I really don't care about. If they brought back Akuma, that would be all right. I think if they made him more of a Mortal Kombat, more of a Tekken character, you know, kind of tone him down and make him be Tekken-y. For Final Fantasy characters, obviously being 1 billion years old, I would have preferred Tifa over any of the existing Tekken characters. Who doesn't like Tifa? I don't know. If they do a Street Fighter character, I would strongly prefer that it not be Luke. I don't like Luke. I've never liked Luke. I don't know, who do we got? Some other ones that people have suggested. Oh, Sarah would be good. If they have guest characters, I actually have a preference that it would be women. It's been, you know, sure, let's put Sarah would be fine. Although people would be like, this is Nina, because, you know, they look very, very similar. If you don't know, Sarah's from Virtua Fighter. She's cool. I don't know. Beat Orchid? I like Beat Orchid, but, you know, she's from KI, and that might be very difficult to make her be kind of a Tekken character. And then who's over here? Look at these suggestions here. Ryu could be all right. Scorpion? I don't really understand how they would do that, necessarily. But Tifa? Yeah, that'd be great. DOA characters? I don't know. Pepsi Man, Taki. If they did a Soul Calibur character, I think it would be best if it was somebody with a short range weapon like Taki. But yeah, I don't know. So that's my thinking. You know, and if they did a DOA character, my favorite DOA character, I'm just gonna throw this out there, Neo Tengu. They should put Neo Tengu in Tekken. But anyway, so these are my thoughts on guest characters. Hope you're hanging in there with Season 2. I'm not a big fan. I'm taking a break from Tekken 8 at the moment, for the most part. But surely they'll fix it, right? Surely. They can't not fix it. So, hope you're hanging in there, and I will see you later. Thanks for watching. Take care.